Okay, in this video module, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the components of a brush. And we're going to talk about how we can edit the components of that brush. So we have a brush. Think of it as a single piece of polygonal geometry. This brush is made up of vertices. Okay, these vertices are kind of like dots. They're located at all of the different edges of your... Well, drag out a box real quick, Logan. This will make it a little easier to see.
So now we have a box brush.
So we got a box brush, and you see a bunch of lines right there. And at all the places where the lines come together, there's a vertex there. And these vertices can be edited. And by editing the vertices, you obviously are going to have a lot better control over the shape of your brush. Now, we've got vertices. Between two vertices, we have a line, as seen right here. As a matter of fact, I'll grab the mouse over here. So we have this. These are edges. So vertices at the corners, edges. An edge always runs between two vertices. And then finally, we have faces, which is the area that is shaded in between all of our connecting edges here. So there's a face, here's a face. Now, up to now, we've just been talking about scaling the brush, but technically we're doing a face drag, where we are dragging a specific face. So we've looked at editing the face component, if you will. In this video, we're going to focus on manipulating vertices and edges. So, Logan, with that introduction, show us how we can manipulate some vertices.
Okay. The first way of actually accessing the vertices or edges is under Selection, Drag, and we have Drag Edges and Drag Vertices, and their respective hotkeys. Using the hotkeys is preferable just because you usually move around a lot while you're working with these, so it's very handy to be able to activate them quickly. So to start working with vertices, I'll simply hit V, and you'll notice now we have a green dot at every vertex. And to move these, you simply drag them. Click on them, and left mouse drag. And you can see we can edit the vertices. Now notice that you only edit one vertex at a time. If you want to move two into the same location, you have to go and grab the other one and move it in as well.
And some really important things to point out here. First thing is a brush must always be convex. Now, convex and concave is something that we're going to talk about a little heavier in the next lesson when we get into CSG operations. But as for right now, just keep in mind that with a brush, you can never have an area where you've got two edges back to back that are indented or caved in, if you will. So right now, if Logan was to try to take one of those vertices and pull them inwards towards, as a matter of fact, let me grab the mouse real quick. So if we were to try to grab this right here, one of these vertices, and move it inwards, and as we were to approach this vertex over here, at some point, once we pass right in this line right here, we're going to have an indented, if you will, a set of edges. You can't have that. Now, Doom Edit's going to do a pretty good job. As you can see right there, I'm dragging. See my mouse still moving? That's as far as I can go. It does a pretty good job of preventing you from trying to create a convex area. But be careful. It's not always going to prevent you from doing that once you start dealing with more complex brushes. Correct, Logan?
That's right.
And if you manage to pull off a concave brush, you're going to make the editor very unhappy. And when the editor gets we all know what happens when software gets very unhappy. It dies. So be very careful to try not to accidentally create a concave brush. We're going to talk again more about concave and convex in the next lesson, but I just wanted to point that out now.
Okay, so we've taken a look at vertex editing. So now let's take a look at dragging edges. I'll hit E, and now you notice we have blue dots instead of green. Each of these blue dots represents an edge. If we take a look at this in the camera view, the blue dots are actually located at the center of each edge. So while in the top view it looks like we have ones at the corner vertices, what that actually is that one edge that runs between those two corner vertices.
And of course, go ahead and grab and manipulate those around a little bit.
The nice thing about that is notice how when I was trying to move this corner in, I had to grab the top vertex, then the bottom vertex. Since this represents a single edge, I can click on drag that, and that way I'm moving that in with just one component instead of two. And
just so that you don't get confused with this, when you grab this and we start moving it, you know, some beginners that are new to working with geometry may think, well, why is this and this moving? Well, remember, the only edit points from this piece of geometry is the vertices here, and they run back to the vertices over here. There is nothing to anchor us right here so that that dot would stay still.
Right, basically that edge is being moved and resized as we're editing other edges.
Exactly, and we're going to keep our little blue dots in the center of the edge. That's why they stay there. So now if we were to take this and I push it back and I keep pushing it inwards, watch what's going to happen. Again, as soon as we hit right there, cannot go any further. Okay, so now the whole thing's going to start to adjust because we cannot have a concave brush. Okay, So there you go, Logan. So now we've shown them how to move around edges and how to move around vertices. Let's do what we did yesterday. Let's go ahead and hollow out a brush and show them the overlapping brushes that we have. And let's fix it real quick.
Okay, so if we were to redo the Make a Simple Room exercise and take this brush, make it, say let's start off with a smaller cube though, a 64 cube.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's hollow it out. So there, now we have all 6 brushes that make up an area where we can exist inside. So put the camera inside and there we go.
But remember, we're dealing with Z-Fight now. We've got faces that are overlapping. We don't know which one to draw. One or the other, and so because of that you end up with flickering in your viewports, and it's just not good. So now we can go in here and we can edit this quickly with vertices or edges. As a matter of fact, with edges we can edit it the quickest.
Yes, edges would be most efficient.
Do one corner with vertices and then do the rest with edges since that's so fast.
Okay, let me select just one of these wall brushes, hit V, drag these vertices in, so I have to drag 2 vertices in order to smooth that the one edge out. I'll go to the adjacent wall, and now if I use edge instead, I only have to grab one edge and move that into place.
So watch this. Use edge and run all the way around it.
So that makes it very easy to go around all the walls and grab edges and line them up so that they fit properly instead of overlapping. So grab an edge, next brush, pull some edges in, pull that edge in, final brush,
and
edges.
Finished.
And that's all the edge editing. Of course, we still
now
probably want to grab the top,
Absolutely.
move it up above. So you see down here we have all the bars indicating Z-Fight. If we move it up, well, there, it's out of the way. Move it too high, there we have a map.
Now it's floating above the room.
So then I'll Alt-Shift to grab the floor brush, move it down, so too far, lining up with the bottom. And of course we could verify by going to a side view, and we can see that all this lines up now.
Flawless. Again, keeping grid snapping on the entire time, so that's very important. Okay, so with that, that's going to wrap up the lesson. I know it was a quick one, but still very important to understand how to go in and manipulate the vertices and edges on a brush, and the fact that you cannot have concave brushes. So that's going to wrap up this lesson.